craziest place you'd ever seen was you kind of designed a sex room.
And
this is like harrowing back to an earlier video we did with Blake, the owner of Drone Hub, saying that in LA he's seeing a lot of sex rooms.
Yeah, that was a request that I had to do a little research because it was not something that comes up every day. And I was chuckling the other day when I saw on Netflix that there's a show about it because I could have used that.
You could have used that for inspiration.
Yes.
All right.
So we'll if they ask, we'll deliver. But it's
that could go in your resume. Sex room designer.
Sure. I hope not.
Throuple designer.
What's the 5 Ps? Do you remember it?
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There you go. It doesn't matter how much money we get. If we don't close, it's no money, right? So no close is no money. I'm everything that I am because of my dad's death. And I wouldn't be as successful without his death.
Hi, I'm Sophia Klopas with the Klopas Stratton team. And today we are joined with Georgeann Rivas from Leo Designs. Hi, Georgeann.
Hi. So happy to be here.
This is my first go at doing the Jason Theory podcast. And I thought, who better than my old dear friend, Georgeann. We've known each other since high school.
Emphasis on old, for sure.
Old in time, not in age.
True.
So, Georgeann, we've known each other forever. We kind of went our own ways. We were in a Greek cotillion together in 1988.
I think so.
So, we've known each other a long time. But Georgeann, you've like flourished into the most amazing designer. Oh. I'm always so proud and happy to give your name out to my clients. Everybody always loves you and loves your design.
Well, thank you so much. You've given us some of the, I always say to Sophia, she's given us some of the most amazing clients, like the most sophisticated. So I think the people that you draw as clients are our dream clients.
Well, at this point, we don't want to work with people we don't like, right? It's kind of the beauty of being in the game for quite a while. So Absolutely. We don't have to do that. But what I do love about Georgeann's design is that she can go uber modern, like you did at 3540 Ravenswood.
Right.
That was on the cover of several magazines. And can also do super French chic traditional, so to speak, right?
Sure.
And everything in between. So Georgeann, I thought you were the perfect guest for my first show. And
I'm honored. I didn't know it was your first show.
My first show. Jason usually does the show. But what I wanted to talk about really was how did you get into the business, or how did you segue into design from the get-go?
Well, I always had a real passion for it, even as a child. I remember planning to go to my first camp, and I wouldn't tell my mom I couldn't go without monogram towels and
Bravo.
and a whole list of the bedding I needed. And she was kind of like, I think I was 9. And
I
think she was a little
that is so extra.
Concerned. So extra. And my mom was an artist, so I remember following her around, art exhibits and galleries and getting influenced. So I think it was
your whole
part
life,
of my childhood. And then I met my business partner when I was in college. She had a similar upbringing. She grew up in Europe and came with a totally different aesthetic, and we partnered up and started a firm when we were pretty young. Started off with smaller projects, and they kept getting bigger and bigger, and now I'm working with your very high-end, amazing clients.
So how long have you been doing this?
Our business officially started in 1999.
Wow.
So it's 100 years.
So a long time.
Yes. And But before that, we were kind of collaborating on projects and doing things, but that's when we officially launched our Leo Designs.
Leo Designs Chicago. You should absolutely check out the website. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
But Georgeann, so how is it that you find, I worked in design for like a minute and I just couldn't deal. I just said, I can't do this anymore. I don't have the patience for it. But how do you find inspiration every day to keep things fresh, but still like keep within the thread of your aesthetic?
Inspiration is important. I kind of just the last couple of months was feeling a little burnout. And Stephanie and I just decided to take a trip to New York about a couple months ago, booked the trip. And I just came back Sunday. Mm-hmm. And being in New York was really inspirational. We went to a couple, the Salon New York, where there's furniture makers and artists from all over the world. And I came back really refreshed because I saw this cutting edge, really cool. Not necessarily something that would fly in the Midwest.
We might get there.
You might.
We might get there.
There were some very unique items.
What was the coolest thing you saw?
Gosh, I can send you some of the pictures. There was chairs made out of, pink lucite shaped like with a, and
Wow,
then
funky.
and then I mean, crazy artists, all sorts of anything you can imagine,
stuff.
but tons of texture, unique colors, and that was really inspiring. Of course, the people of New York, it was kind of.
Plus, like, the city's back,
Exactly.
right? Like, it's post-COVID, and like everybody is just
the energy,
so happy to be out.
The energy was pretty electric,
really high.
So I was happy. Coming out of COVID was a long couple years with cranky clients, delays.
Everybody's cranky.
So it just feels good I'm feeling refreshed now.
Oh, that's
But I think
great.
getting away,
travel,
is always.
It's like it was work related, but it was still
definitely.
Like, everybody always needs some downtime in order
Absolutely.
to
You gotta
just stay
get
on
out
top.
of your
Right.
normal scenario and setting, and just see some new things and get inspired.
I know.
Nature's always a good.
Is that
especially for
another thing for you?
Yeah, even if you just go
Where do you like to go?
Even if you go to Northern Michigan, not Northern Michigan, 2 hours out of town to New Buffalo, and changing the leaves in the fall can inspire a color palette. I think just getting outside is helpful.
So do you find when you're doing a project, you mentally gravitate towards things that are seasonal from when you're doing it, or are you able to like step back? So you're saying like you go and look at the leaves. So then in my mind, I think fall. So at that moment when you're designing, are you thinking fall colors, or are you still able to separate that but use inspiration from it?
I think more inspiration, not so literal. But I think just seeing a palette can kind of give you inspiration for just a room, but a lot of times I get inspired by the actual property.
Right.
Nowadays somebody will show me, a few pictures on Instagram of their dream house, but it really won't go with what they've purchased. They'll purchase a
Georgian.
a Georgian, and show me that's Malibu modern aesthetic, and you kind of have to guide people to. Of course, that's beautiful what they're showing me, that 4 pictures on Instagram that they want their house to look like, but if it doesn't relate at all to
we get that too.
I bet you do.
Oh yeah, I
want to hear about that a bit.
Huge 10-bedroom house, and my budget is $350. Can you do that for me?
Oh my gosh, I can't. Your stories must be really, really good.
Oh yeah, we've got some good ones. But so we're just coming out of the pandemic. I think we're out of it. But what sort of things? We saw our clients make so many drastic changes in their lives. Many people were just like, I'm out. I'm going out to the country. I'm getting out of here. I had clients that moved to Nashville because that seemed to be all the rage.
Right.
They managed 3 months in Nashville. They were like, oh my God, this is not for us. We made a huge mistake. And came back. Did not come back to their house because, of course, everything sold immediately.
Right.
But, we had a lot of clients making tons of changes in their lives. Some of the changes were, really good. Some changes were not great. We see people coming back to the city. And what's interesting is we're seeing people that left and keeping wherever they went as their primary, and then coming back to Chicago as a secondary market. And so as like a second home, what used to be their primary is becoming their secondary, right?
Wow.
So, I think that's a business that might, not a business, but that's a thing that might translate into what might be coming next for designers, is that now, Chicago is not the primary. Chicago's the secondary. But I know I've seen from your Instagram and social media and your website, you had quite a few interesting jobs during the pandemic, and a lot of jobs. So what was your favorite job?
Gosh, we had a few favorites.
But you could take my clients out of it. So what was your favorite job outside of the clients I referred to?
Oh gosh, my favorite is one of your clients that we finished recently. She's just a breath of fresh air. Everyone that's around her loves this woman.
Yeah, she's energetic.
She's energetic and she's passionate, and she's just one of a kind.
Yes.
I don't know if I've met anybody like her. So she's on top of our list.
Yeah, she spews rainbows.
Yes, I could talk about her all day.
Yeah,
you've got to have her next.
Or
first.
We did a podcast thing with her during the pandemic.
Oh, you did?
Virtual.
She's so inspirational.
She really is. But tell
story.
me about your favorite project.
Okay, we had clients call just and say, hi, how are you doing? We're buying a house in Vail. Hi, we were gonna get a compound in Montana. So we got big calls that called for a lot of moving around. So when everyone was relaxing, watching, Netflix, we were on planes.
Working. Your tail feathers off.
And it was good. But once all furniture orders went in and we realized that things weren't coming as fast, and we had to make second choices and third, and then people start getting frustrated. And I couldn't blame them, but it was a hard time to have happy clients.
Interesting.
But working on cool projects and out of state was great, but just the lead times really got to people.
Was it hard to source things when you're working out of state?
No, not necessarily. We
like contractors and things like that. Was that not difficult?
The contractors there was a shortage of contractors, so that was another burden. But as far as items, I mean, there's so much online now, like with Cherish and First Dibs and.
I love First Dibs.
It's amazing.
It's a problem.
It is a problem.
It's a deep dive problem for me nightly.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't know what First Dibs is, check it out.
Yes, I mean,
That's a free plug.
You can really go down a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, it's delicious. Okay,
and then on the lesser, you can go. I mean, people are finding amazing things in Facebook Marketplaces. They look in Mississippi. They see cutting edge sofas that just need to be, So we were doing a ton of vintage during the pandemic.
I'm always scared to buy on Facebook Marketplace. I should not be.
I think you send other people to pick it up.
I mean, but is it real? I think this is a good thing for people to know. I'm always wondering, Facebook Marketplace is are the goods, maybe not legit? So you've not had problems.
We've not had issues.
Okay, you've heard
it's
it.
Go
to Facebook Marketplace
every day. But when we're in a jam and there's nothing that we need to find a settee for one room, we've used it as a filler.
Okay.
But
all right. Well, here's the new source for everybody.
Right.
Affordable, pickup.
Right. Quick.
Well, I do that restoration hardware outlet.
Yeah,
I love that outlet, and then you just can reupholster or what have you.
That's great. In
my whole house. So I did the COVID plunge.
Oh no!
I bought a house in Michigan.
During
COVID. Love it.
That's great.
But I got everything at Restoration Hardware, Jason Home, everything that I could, and I realized I turned into my clients. Everything
you wanted immediate
that I could have
gratification?
Immediately. I said to my agent there, I'm I don't want to lift a finger. I don't want to have to do anything. I need everything redone. So I turned into my worst client.
Well,
for somebody
you know all
else,
the tricks.
of course, right? Yeah. So we did that. I looked at 3 houses. I'm okay, this one fits the bill. Let's do it. And then, we moved in a month, and I had my house fully furnished.
That's tremendous.
Yeah,
you should have videoed. That could have been a good TV show with you and
I do
your
have
husband.
a lot of video. Frank wanted to kill me, but yes.
So did it turn out? Do you love it?
It's great. I love it, but it's a COVID purchase.
So was it one of those things, the COVID happy choices?
I just needed to get out of town.
Yeah,
and I needed some space, and it's I'm in Buchanan, but I'm really close to Sawyer, so it's an hour and 25 minutes away.
That's perfect. You could go just for the night sometimes.
I do. If I have nothing, I just get in the car and I go, and then if something comes up, I can come back.
Wow, I love that for you.
Yeah, I love it for me too. And it's 2 bedrooms, so there's no guests.
Not too many guests.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
It is really
you
good.
Made your dream
you
home.
can come. Alpha's been. She liked it, and Lori's been. But so yeah, COVID sort of just really, I think, changed everybody's view. Let's get past COVID. What do you see moving forward?
Well, it kind of relates a little bit to COVID in that so many of my clients ended up not going back to work in their traditional offices. So that kind of changed the dynamic in a lot of people's houses and made us, do a ton of home offices. And
so you did a lot of reconfigurations and changing guest bedrooms into offices.
People wanted to work out at home. And so we were busy on all fronts, but that dynamic of the people staying at home now, I'm getting calls from the spouses of the person at home now saying how can we
convert that back to a bedroom? Get them out the door.
Can the desk never come? Because we need to get them back to work at the downtown.
Yeah.
So
I do think people will start going back to work. I think that people who are more senior might have the option to not go back to work, but I do think people will start going back to work. At least that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
from
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah, is that, and plus, I think people are sick of sitting at home. It's you live at home, you work at home, you work out at home.
Right.
It's too much.
Right.
Get some fresh air.
It'll be
I think it's good for the mind.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens with all that. Solitude.
I know. I don't think
not
it's
good for everybody.
We're now getting the COVID divorce homes.
Oh,
right.
Wow. Is that
those are
real estate
up.
trend?
Oh, yeah. Well, people never spent that much time with their spouse before.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's happening. I'm getting, not a lot, but some calls.
I guess I'm not surprised.
Well, yeah. Can you be with someone 24/7, 365 times
not
2?
anyone. No.
I'm used to Frank being gone a lot, which is why I'm happily married for 26
Right.
years. But I mean, it's like they were home on Zoom calls and there was just a lot of like hanging out, doing nothing. I'm like, oh my God, you've got to get to work.
Wow.
Got to travel. I'm not used to you being around.
And you
So-
were still busy though.
well, there was a couple months where real estate was shut down, like we couldn't show. But I mean, quite honestly, if I was home all day and he was home all day, I could have been selling my house. I mean, it was a lot.
And you've got a nice husband, so
I do
that
have
just
a
goes
nice
to show you
husband.
for the rest
and
of the
we
world.
don't have children.
What are the
so we don't
chances-
have that stress either. I mean, Jason's house was bananas.
Well, he's got young ones, right?
Yeah, he's got 3. That's
Oh,
real
well,
crazy.
I'm glad he made it through.
He did. He made it through the rain. I'm not sure he's unscathed, but he made it through. All right,
He's
so
got
we've
some
talked
vacation
about that, but
properties he
like,
can
so
rent to.
what do you think is going to be like color and trends? Like, let's talk about kitchens. Like, where do you see? Everybody always wants, like, our clients are always like, what should we do to get more value in our house? And it's always like kitchens and baths, right? Which are always the most expensive things.
Right.
But if you want to get like a really good return on your investment, like a kitchen always sells a house.
And in the past, we could guarantee, marble and white
Right.
cabinets was the formula.
Right.
Now it's gotten so much more individual.
Right.
People are really.
I think white has been done,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
beautiful. Don't
think-
get me wrong, for everybody who has white kitchens. I like them.
We still love them. That's a classic, but
It is.
I think a lot of people want to see some white oak wood mixed
components.
in warmth. Mm-hmm. I think warmth is.
Some texture,
Yeah.
like I love the veining on cabinets.
Yeah.
Even if you can't go like super high end, even like dare I say laminate, like this.
Right.
Where there's some texture.
People are
to
liking
the cabinet.
texture, a little more color. Veining in stone is big. So people before would want kind of quiet.
Just white quartz. but
Now
not anymore.
everybody wants movement. So I don't know how that's translating for resale, but I think after
super, super busy.
I think in
Does not-
moments, like in a
in
powder
moments.
room. In a powder
Love
room,
a crazy
people
powder
do
room.
like
It's behind the
breccia
door. Yeah.
or these strong colors and patterns. But in the kitchen, I'd say it's paid a little more safe, but it definitely is going warmer and some paint.
More natural woods.
Right. You know how everyone fell in
Yeah.
love with the Ice
Gray.
Swoon, the Brooklyn
Yeah.
designer. A lot of people request that kitchen, but we can't do that kitchen,
24/7. Right.
We got to mix
And
it
I'm
up.
just so happy because I think gray is finally made its
yes.
way out. I mean, I like gray, don't get me wrong. I mean, this room is kind of gray we're in right now, but like every single house I walked into had gray walls, gray cabinets, white marble with
White.
gray veining. So I love to hear that you feel like we're moving towards
I think
some
the
personality.
pendulum swung so
Yeah.
far. Now I think it's almost gravitating to the colors that we tore out like 15 years ago. Like
I know.
People liking the deep reds and burgundies.
That's great because I never redid my kitchen, so I'm in vogue again.
Yeah.
I just need
If
new
you-
countertops.
In design, if you wait long enough,
It'll
old
come
trends
back.
come
Well,
back.
it's just like clothes.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I
It
mean,
comes
my
back.
mom's still hanging on to clothes from 50 years ago.
And
she's never going to fit back into them, but she's holding on
Well,
to
good
them.
for her.
All right, so we've talked about that. Tell me what like is sort of the craziest thing you've walked into in a house, pre-finished it. Like you walked in and you were like, oh my goodness. Like what was the scariest thing?
Well,
do you feel comfortable saying that?
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
I've seen it all by now.
Sure.
We so many things. We did have our first throuple this year.
You had a throuple.
We had to design a house for a throuple.
Really?
So we had to do, instead of a king bed, we had to do an Alaskan, which is
What's
bigger than a
Alaskan?
king. We could fit 3 people.
An Alaskan fits a throuple.
Yeah. They're
Okay, I have
thin,
to ask
though.
some questions. They're thin people. Was it 2 men and a woman or
3 men.
3 men? Okay, see, I just assumed that there was a woman involved.
Yeah.
There was
That
a
would've
throuple. Okay, that's real interesting.
Yeah. So I mean,
okay.
it
Uh-huh.
wasn't that challenging. I mean,
No.
just a few things to navigate, but
Uh-huh.
that was a first.
That was a first.
But people are pretty specific about what they want. So I'm always, you work really closely with a family or a
right,
couple.
you get
and
involved in their lives,
Right,
really, kind
right.
of like how we do. It's
Right.
very similar.
So you see a lot, and you probably shouldn't say much about what you see.
Right.
But
Uh-huh. Well, we're not saying any names or addresses or what have
even
you.
cities.
Okay, so we did that. Tell me about your favorite project.
Gosh, it's like your children. You can't really pick one favorite, I don't think.
Okay, how about what project? Tell me about the project you've done that you would live in, like
gosh.
that one you would live in.
We always play this game at the office, like whose house, and
Yeah.
all of us have a different home. And
Okay, you can get seasonal homes. You get to choose 4.
Sure.
Tell me about your top 2, because I'm not
Gosh.
sure we have time for all 4.
I change a lot. So a couple years ago, I might be drawn to, I don't know, like I really loved one of the clients that you gave us that's on East Lakeshore Drive or,
Who, the ships?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love that house.
That's a great condo.
And,
because it's a vintage rehab.
So I love vintage rehab. It has history. I love the small scale of the building, but the apartments felt airy.
Right.
So when we were working in the house, I loved that house. And then we go on and we were working on another one of your clients in Winnetka. And then I thought, what a beautiful setting.
Yeah.
It's a perfect for entertaining. And I thought, what would that house been like to raise my daughter and have the, parties
that
in the
yard
backyard.
is like insane.
Insane.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
I mean, I gotta get attached to whatever
You like
I'm working
little
on.
pieces.
Yeah. So I pretty much fell in love with the house that I'm working on, and
That's why you're so
envision me
good
living
at it.
there, and want every little touch. And now we're going back to decorate for Christmas.
That's why your details are so important. And we always say in real estate, details matter, and they matter even more in design.
But I think, we can make a really beautiful house, but I think the biggest thing is it has to reflect the homeowner.
Right.
So I really have to find out what
makes
they're
them
all
tick.
about.
Right.
And sometimes when you find out what they like is not really what you'd like at all.
Is that hard?
That is hard sometimes, because I'll have a vision when I walk in, like, oh, I can do this and this. And then to make a successful project, you really have to execute what they want, not what you would do. So that's kind of challenging. That's the biggest challenge, because now I think with Pinterest and Instagram, people have a much more vivid sensibility of how they want to live and what they, because they have so much at their fingertips.
There's so much in your face daily.
Yeah. 15 years ago, we'd get a job and they'd say, oh, I like this color. I want, a guest room. And here you go. And now
That was fun,
they're armed
probably.
with this huge vision board and 18 Pinterest boards. And they've got an Instagram folder they want to share with you. And they really want what they see in the pages. And,
Sometimes you can't do that.
I mean, sometimes we've got to rein it in.
Right.
Because they might
Be
want something-
schizophrenic.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, modern room, traditional
Right,
room,
right.
black, red. So you mentioned earlier that you had the craziest place you'd ever seen was you kind of designed a sex room. And this is like harrowing back to an earlier video we did with Blake, the owner of Drone Hub, saying that in LA he's seeing a lot of sex rooms.
Yeah, that was a request that I had to do a little research, because it was not something that comes up every day. And I was chuckling the other day when I saw on Netflix that there's a show about it, because I could have used that.
You
back
could have
then.
used that for inspiration.
Yes.
All right.
So we'll if they ask, we'll deliver. But it's
that could go in your resume. Sex room designer.
Sure. I hope not.
Throuple designer.
But we do it all. We do it
We
all.
do everything. Okay.
We're eager to please, and we're not happy or complete until they get their dream house, and some of that entails
Takes a long time too, right?
It does.
I mean, it's not restoration hardware
No.
in West Elm and Jason Home immediate delivery.
and sometimes it is that. Sometimes we'll get those quick fixes,
is.
and that's kind of fun. But typically, people want custom, really high end, and they've worked really hard, and they want their vision seen to the fullest.
Sure.
And that does take a while.
What would you say if someone doesn't want to go the route of ready to wear and they're going home couture? What would you say is like an average? 2 years?
I think a year and a half.
A year and a
minimum.
half minimum. Okay.
And especially right now with the trades. I mean, it's not, now we're getting back to somewhat normal about lead times, but the trades have just been so busy and pulled in so many, tons of people redid their houses. So contractors are just not at your fingertips
Right.
anymore.
I know. It's busy. I mean, I had to reorder a back door and they told me 6 months for a sliding door. Last question I have for you. How do you think you've become so successful?
Oh, gosh,
What is
that's so
that
nice
one
of you.
thing like that you could say that like a defining moment, so to speak? Like I know what mine and Jason's was. Like what was your defining moment
Can I
of
hear yours?
success? Well, so I think when the last like downturn in the market happened, everybody was like pulling back and sort of reining in their spending and their marketing. And that was when Jason and I realized, okay, everybody else is pulling back. We need to surge forward. And the click of that happening is like in the downturn, our volume actually doubled. So that was like our defining moment of like when we knew, okay, we're going to do something here.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that was our defining moment of success and what we thought, like what set us on track for success.
Well, there was a power move.
It was a risky move, but it worked out.
Good. I think the first time I felt like we kind of made it maybe was when we were not able to accept jobs. I kind of thought, wow, before anybody call, I would be
Yes.
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 How soon can I be there? And
Yeah. Right.
I'll cancel that vacation. I'll be there. And I would just, then when we got to a point where kind of like we'd meet somebody and we'd have some red flags, not anything crazy, but just unrealistic time expectations. We'd kind of explain. They'd say no, and I knew I couldn't do a good job if I had to put a house together in 5 weeks or on a $200 budget, whatever.
Right.
And I could say like, you know what, we'll have to wait for the next one.
Right.
And so I think I felt successful. Like finally, we can be a little bit
and it's
selective.
empowering.
It's empowering.
Very empowering to say no
15
and
years,
be okay.
we said yes to everything. You want your garage
Okay.
painted? No, not that.
I'll be out there with the brush.
But we were just eager to, please, and we still are. But I think being able to.
That's a really great one.
Yeah, I felt really, for a long time we did everything, and now we can be a little more selective and really work with wonderful clients who are a little more realistic.
That's wonderful. Okay. Well, thanks for spending time with myself.
Oh, that was fun, though.
And Georgeann. And do you want to talk more?
No, yeah.
You can reach or see Georgeann's work at leodesignschecago.com. And their Instagram is fabulous. You must follow them. It's Leo Designs Chicago. Thanks for joining.